Good evening, and welcome to 365 Language Planet. This is Let's Speak English and Nihongo Live, episode 32. The theme of this episode is Fun with Languages. Before we start, let's check this month's 365 language moons and planets. So far, we have 2 moons this month, K-Workshop and Kan Mama, way to go, and 3 planets, Y-O, Takesh, and nice job. If you want to become a 365 language planet, all you need to do is share an idea in the chat or in the comments. So, let's begin. Hajimemashou. The first question of tonight's show is, I love using languages to communicate with people. How about you? 日本語で私は言語を使ってコミュニケーションを取るのが大好きです。あなたはどうですか? Please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください. You have 4 minutes. All right, so the question is, I love using languages to communicate with people. How about you? Please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. 私は言語を使って人とコミュニケーションを取るのが大好きです。あなたはどうですか? チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください. You have about 3 minutes and 25 seconds. All right. Do you love using languages to communicate with people? Let me know in the chat or in the comments. 言語を使って人とコミュニケーションを取るのが大好きですか? チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください. Alright. As some of you know, I went to Osaka recently, and I had a chance to communicate with many people. It was very exciting and fun. I was very happy. But how about you? Do you love using languages to communicate with people? I guess you do. If you're watching this show, you probably love using languages to communicate with people. But please let me know. Let me know in the chat or in the comments. A very simple answer would be, I love using languages to communicate with people too. Or you might say, I don't really love using languages to communicate with people. That's okay too. Anything's fine. I guess, some people might say, I love using languages to communicate with people, but it's difficult. I know a few friends who love using languages to communicate with people after drinking. Maybe that's you. Maybe that's you. Maybe not. So I know some people love to use languages to read books. That's okay too. All right. Well, let me just go back to this page. So, if you have an answer to the question, please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください。All right, K Workshop. Thank you for joining tonight's show. I'm not very good at communicating, but I try to use English to communicate. That's great. The only way to become good is to practice. So that's great. Kan Mama, thank you for joining tonight's show too. Kan Mama says yes, but I'm not good at using languages to communicate with people yet. Really? I think you and K Workshop are both very good at using languages to communicate with people. So don't underestimate your ability. Okay, well, great job, guys. Nice work. Let's move on to the next section. So now, please write a new question in the chat or in the comments. 今、チャットまたはコメントに新しい質問を書いてください。YO, thank you for joining tonight's show. YO says, me too. I love using languages to communicate with people, but I don't have a chance. All right, nice answer. Okay, I'm going to start the timer. So you have 4 minutes. 4分間あります to write a new question in the chat or in the comments. All right. 4分間あります。チャットまたはコメントに新しい質問を書いてください。I think, a very simple question might be, you could talk about something you love to do. Like, I love traveling. How about you? I love going to the beer garden. How about you? That's a very simple question. Simple, but useful. Right. But, maybe, you can make a question about the theme of tonight's show, which is fun with languages. So, anything is okay. 何でも大丈夫です。My first topic for tonight's show was going to be about summer vacation. So if you want to talk about summer vacation, that's okay too. Anything is okay. One question I had, I didn't. Oh, okay, we got one. Okay, K Workshop says, you always try to communicate with people. How can you not hesitate? Good question. Well, actually, it's not so hard for me to hesitate because I often, instead of trying to communicate with people, I often take a rest nowadays. I love communicating with people, but taking a rest is very important too. How about you, K Workshop? That's the main way I can hesitate is by just taking a rest. Great question. Does anyone else have a question? If you do, please write it in the chat or in the comments. And I think, usually for me, when I go to a new place, I often try to communicate with people more because I want to learn about the place from people. But since I've lived in Guma a long time. I know Guma very well. Um, I don't often communicate with people in Guma these days, but I'm trying. I am trying. Okay, K Workshop says, I think the best way not to hesitate is drinking. Oh yeah, definitely. I see. I see. So yeah, I agree. Drinking is one way to definitely uh, help to not hesitate. So nice idea. Okay, so let's move on. If you're still typing, please continue, and you can share your new question in the chat or in the comments anytime. Okay, but we're gonna move on to the second question of tonight's show, which is, do you want to practice useful phrases for communicating with people? 日本語で人とコミュニケーションを取るための便利なフレーズを練習したいですか? Alright, please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください. You have 4 minutes. 4分間あります. The question is, do you want to practice useful phrases for communicating with people? Please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. 人とコミュニケーションを取るための便利なフレーズを練習したいですか? チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください。3分半間あります。You have about 3.5 minutes to write your answer in the chat or in the comments. Do you want to practice useful phrases for communicating with people? I know for me, after going to Osaka, I definitely want to practice useful phrases for communicating with people more. I could speak a little Spanish and a little Italian, and some Japanese in Osaka, but the next time I go, I wanna use the languages more. Anyways, how about you? Do you want to practice useful phrases for communicating with people? Let me know in the chat or in the comments. 人とコミュニケーションを取るための便利なフレーズを練習したいですか? チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください。All right, if you're just joining the show, you can please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. K Workshop says, of course I do. So I take your lesson. Thank you. Thank you very much, K Workshop. I deeply appreciate your support, and I hope to teach you many more useful phrases for communicating with people. All right, so the question is, do you want to practice useful phrases for communicating with people? 人とコミュニケーションを取るための便利なフレーズを練習したいですか? チャットまたはコメントに答 答えを書いてください。Do you want to practice useful phrases for communicating with people? Please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. K Workshop did a great job of using of course. Of course, that's one of my favorite phrases. Mochiron in Japanese. As do I. As do I. Do you want to practice useful phrases for communicating with people? Let me know in the chat or in the comments. All right. Well, if you're still typing, please continue. And as always, you can share your answers anytime during the show or after the show. All right. But now let's move on to the next section. So in this section, please write a new question in the chat or in the comments. 今、チャットまたはコメントに新しい質問を書いてください。You have 4 minutes. 4分間あります。All right. So, if you're just joining the show, if you're new to the show, in this section of the show, you can write a new question in the chat or in the comments about anything. Anything is okay. All right. YO says, yes, I do. I do want to practice useful phrases for communicating with many people. That's great. Me too. Me too. All right. So, 今、チャットまたはコメントに新しい質問を書いてください。3分間あります。I know where I live in Japan, it was extremely hot today. I think a good question, if you're talking to someone who lives in a different place, you might ask them, was it hot where you live today? And if someone was asking me that question, I would say, yes, it was extremely hot where I live today. How about where you live? Was it hot? It was crazy hot where I live today. I checked one website I checked about the weather said the kind of heat index was about 44 degrees this afternoon. I think that the actual temperature was 37 degrees, but it felt like 44 degrees with the humidity and almost no wind. So it was crazy hot today. But anyways, that's my idea, my question. Now you can write your idea in the chat or in the comments. 今、チャットまたはコメントにあなたの考えを書いてください。何でも大丈夫です。Anything is okay. I actually tried to go to a new beer garden 2 nights ago, but I couldn't. It was packed. Okay, K Workshop says, Do you have any chance to use Spanish? How do you study Spanish? Great question. I do. I met one woman from Spain in Nara last week. And so, I sometimes I heard people speaking Spanish in Osaka, I think, a few times. But I talked to one person using Spanish and English, which is really fun. And I sometimes talk to my wife in Spanish. And I sometimes watch YouTube videos and write YouTube comments in Spanish. So that's how I study Spanish. But yeah, great question, K Workshop. And if you want to, you can tell me if you have a chance to use Spanish and how you study Spanish. Okay, well, let's move on to the last question of tonight's show, which is not a question. It's actually fun with languages, the game. I will show you a useful phrase in Japanese. 日本語で便利なフレーズを紹介します。Then, you have 2 minutes to write the phrase in English or any other language. このフレーズを英語や他の言語でどう言うでしょうか？チャットで教えてください。I will share 8 phrases. 8つのフレーズを紹介します。Let's begin! 始めましょう。Now, and the phrases will go from kind of easy to difficult. So the first phrases are probably pretty easy. Let's see if you can do it. So the first phrase is 大阪に住んでいますか? You have 2 minutes to write the phrase in English or any other language. 英語または他の言語でフレーズを書くのに2分間あります。The phrase is, timer, 2 minutes. The phrase is 大阪に住んでいますか? This was the first phrase I used on my trip to Osaka to start a conversation with a guy on the train. We had a very nice conversation, and so I think this phrase is very simple, but is very useful. 大阪に住んでいますか? Now, you don't have 2 minutes. You have about 1.5 minutes to write the phrase in English or any other language. 英語または他の言語でフレーズを書いて。Okay, Wayo, nice idea. Kan Mama, nice idea too. Okay, workshop. Oh, nice. You got English and Spanish. Fantastic. Good ideas. Yeah, as I said, this was the first phrase I used on my trip to Osaka to start a conversation. And I think I used this phrase probably 3 times, at least 3 times, with people to start a conversation. And every time I used it, it worked. It was good. It was a good phrase. So I definitely recommend to try using this phrase. When you go to a new place, you can ask people, do you? Okay, nice one. Hey, Hybridge, thank you for joining tonight's show. Fantastic. All right. Okay, so living la vida loca. Yes. Okay, very nice, K Workshop. All right, so one way you can say this phrase in English is, do you live in Osaka? So great job, everyone. Nice job. Okay, the next phrase is, doko no shushin desu ka? Uh, so you have 2 minutes to write the phrase in English or any other language. 英語または他の言語でフレーズを書くのに2分間あります。All right, so the phrase is どこの出身ですか? All right, K Workshop, nice job. Kan Mama, nice job too. So this phrase I used in Nara. And my wife told me, oh, I think that group is using Spanish. And so I started listening. YO, nice job. I started listening. And one of the group members sat on a bench, and I asked that person this question. Doko no shushin desu ka? In Spanish. I asked this question in Spanish, and we started talking. She said she's from Spain, and I told my wife, come on, come. There's a Spanish person. Let's talk a little bit in Spanish. And we talked a little bit in Spanish and a little bit in English. Yes, that's the question, K Workshop. That's the question I used in Nara to start the conversation. So this is a really useful question. You know, if you hear people speaking English, you might ask them, this question using English. If you hear people speaking Japanese, you could ask, doko no shushin desu ka? They'll probably say, Nihon. Probably. But, if you hear people speaking Italian, you could ask them this question using Italian. French. Especially French, because there's many French speakers around the world. And so it's like Spanish too. There's many Spanish speakers around the world. So, okay. Well, you guys all have the right answer. Where are you from? Okay, great job. Okay, so the next phrase is 日本を訪問していますか? So, 日本を訪問していますか? All right. You have 2 minutes to write this phrase in English or any other language. So, 英語または他の言語でフレーズを書くのに2分間あります。日本を訪問していますか? All right, nice one. Nice one. I used nice idea, K Workshop. I used this question to start a conversation with a few people at a cafe, in kind of near Osaka Castle. There's a kind of big building that has a cafe inside, and these two people sat next to me, across from me, and I used this question to start a conversation with them. It was a good conversation. It was great. Nice idea, YO. Nice idea, Kan Mama. This is a very useful question for asking people in Osaka, and I would say probably in Tokyo too, if it's not too hot of a day. I used this question and I started talking to people, like two people in the cafe, and they said they were from Malta, which I'm not exactly sure where Malta is, but I think it's maybe near Italy. And so we spoke a little bit of Italian too, and we talked a lot about Japan. All right. If you think you know how to write this question in English, please try to write it in the chat, or, any other language is okay too. All right. So, are you visiting Japan? Great job, everyone. Nice job. Perfect. Okay. So, all right. Hey, hi, Bridge. Very nice. Nice job. Okay. The next phrase is 私の名前はマイクです。はじめまして。So you have 2 minutes to write the phrase in English or any other language. 英語または他の言語でフレーズを書くのに2分間あります。So, I just, my name is actually Garrett, but I use Mike, because I think Mike is a little bit easier to write, easier to spell. It's a very common name as well. So, do you know how to say this phrase in English or any other language? If you do, please let me know in the chat or in the comments. 私の名前はマイクです。はじめまして。Oh my god, I didn't start the timer. Alright. I'm going to use a 1-minute timer. Alright. Okay, nice idea, Kan Mama. Okay, guys, I was talking a lot. I started the timer late, so you only have 1 minute. 1分間あります。The phrase is 私の名前はマイクです。はじめまして。Oh, very nice. K Workshop says, Me llamo Mike. Un placer conocerte. Nice. Another way to say nice to meet you in Spanish is mucho gusto. For me, I like to say mucho gusto. It's kind of a fun way to say nice to meet you in Spanish. All right, YO says, my name is Mike. Nice to meet you. Okay, that's great. Okay, so the answer is, one of the answers is, my name's Mike. Nice to meet you. But my name is Mike. I'm Mike. Oh, okay, great job. Okay, so I think the phrases are going to get a little more difficult now. The next phrase is, 観覧車に乗りましたか? You have 2 minutes to write the phrase in English or any other language. 英語または他の言語でフレーズを書くのに2分間あります。Okay, hey, hi, Bridge. My name is Mike. Nice to meet you. Great job. Okay, so now let's try it. So this is I think this is a bit of a challenge up. 観覧車に乗りましたか? How do you say this phrase in English or any other language? Please let me know in the chat or in the comments. In Osaka, there are many of these. And so I think it's a useful question. All right. Nice idea, K Workshop. I used this question once in Osaka to talk to 2 people. So yeah, it was a great question. Very useful question. And I met, there's two people. One of them was from Switzerland. I think. And the other one was from Israel. This is very exciting. I think it's my first time to meet someone from Switzerland in Japan. All right, nice idea, YO. Nice idea. Kan Mama, nice idea too. As I said, in Osaka, there are many of these kanranshas. And so this is a very useful question in Osaka to start, to communicate with people. Okay. Well, if you're still typing, please continue. And you can share your idea anytime. So the answer is, did you ride the Ferris wheel? But did you get on the Ferris wheel is okay too. And just, did you ride on the Ferris wheel is okay too. So there's many ways to say these phrases sometimes. Okay, so the next phrase is, this is an easy one. Sorry. どうでしたか? You have 2 minutes to write the phrase in English or any other language. All right. So, yeah, this one is very useful, in combination with the last question. All right, nice idea, K-Workshop. どうでしたか? So, yes, nice idea, Kan Mama. This is very useful with, in combination with the last question. So like, you could change the last question, like, did you see Osaka Castle? And if someone says yes, and then you're like, wow, you could ask, どうでしたか? So this is, many did you questions. Did you see the great Buddha? And they say yes, and then どうでしたか? This is a very, very useful question, and especially in combination with the last question. Did you? Did you go to the beer garden recently? どうでしたか? All right, now I promise the last two, after this, there's only 2 more phrases left, and the last 2 are the most difficult. But they're not really long sentences, but just a little difficult. All right, how do you say どうでしたか in English or any other language? I think in Spanish it's como fue. Como fue, I think. Anyways. Okay, so どうでしたか in English is, how was it? Nice job, Hybrid. Okay, so the second to last phrase of tonight's show is 話ができてよかったです. How do you say, so you have 2 minutes to write the phrase in English or any other language. 英語または他の言語でフレーズを書くのに2分間あります. All right, so 話ができてよかったです. How do you say this phrase in English or any other language? So this phrase, it's kind of a tough phrase, but very useful, very useful. All right, Kan Mama says, nice idea, Kan Mama. It's a little short. If you want to, you can make it a little bit longer. But great idea. 話ができてよかったです. I wish, I would have studied this phrase before going to Osaka. in different languages because I talked to lots of people, but I didn't know how to say this phrase, and I would just, I told the woman from Spain, see you. I said like, maybe see you soon, and I never saw her again. So that was not the best phrase. This phrase would have been very useful for communicating with people. Wayo says, I'm okay. Nice idea, Wayo. Great idea. Yes. Very, very nice. Very nice. All right. Okay. Workshop. Nice idea too. So this one, I think, everyone's ideas are, good. Everyone's ideas are good, but this is kind of at the end of the conversation. And so usually, I think we people, use this phrase in past tense. So it was nice talking with you. Because it's kind of the end of the conversation. You're kind of saying goodbye, and the conversation's kind of finished. And so it was nice talking with you. Or, and another phrase could be like, I'm happy I could talk with you. Or I'm happy to talk. I'm happy I could talk to you. Is okay too. So yeah, great job. As I said, these last two phrases are the most difficult. Okay, so the last phrase of tonight's show is 素晴らしい旅になりますように. You have 2 minutes to write the phrase in English or any other language. All right. Hey, Highbridge, I am lucky to talking with you. Nice idea. Okay. 英語または他の言語でフレーズを書くのに2分間あります。All right, K Workshop. Nice idea. That's a short version of this sentence, and that's a very useful phrase. I said that to 2 people I met at Shin Osaka Station in English. Again, this is another phrase that I wish I would have studied before going to Osaka. All right, Kan Mama says, nice idea. That it's a little short, but it's okay. It's perfect. It's perfect version, kind of perfect short version. 素晴らしい旅になりますように. So this one, it's kind of like Japanese. You can say arigato, or you could say arigato gozaimasu, or you could say domo arigato. You can say domo arigato gozaimasu. This phrase is kind of similar. There's a very short version, a little bit longer version, and then, a very long version. Okay, nice idea. That's definitely kind of more of that's the kind of longer version style, which is great. All right, how do you say 素晴らしい旅になりますように in English or any other language? If you think you have a good idea, please let me know in the chat or in the comments. Okay, here we go. So this is one way to say it is hope you have a great trip. Hope you have a nice trip is perfect too, or have a nice trip, have a great trip. I hope you have a great trip. It's kind of the very long style. But yeah, I hope you have a nice trip. It's okay too. So great job, everyone. Way to go. Our first fun with languages, the game. Nice job. Okay, well, that's the end of tonight's show. Okay, hi Bridge. Thank you. I hope that your trip will be nice. Great idea. All right, thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining the show and studying with me tonight. May the force be with you, K-Workshop. All right. As always, we will be doing this show on Sundays at 8:30 p.m. Japan Standard Time. So, my pleasure, Ryo. Thank you so much for joining tonight's show. If you haven't already, please subscribe and give the show a big thumbs up. I hope everyone has a great night, and I'll see you next time. Mata chikai uchi ni aimashou. So till then, take care and have a great night.